Tools today saw the video of the 40 tooth carbide blade that Amana blade that I had purchased from them, and they contacted me to see if I wanted to try another blade for my channel, and they did provide this to me free of charge, so I guess you could call this a promotional video. But you know, I'm just gonna go through and show you what I found with this blade. Now, they did include a really nice magnetic sticker and a card, and a really great catalog that they have. If you have a CNC router or do any kind of routing and stuff, Amana just has an amazing selection, and Tools Today prices really seem reasonable. So you know, I would kind of recommend that you do request one of these catalogs from them, because I can see you know, quite a few router bits that I'm going to try in the future. So anyhow, they sent me, here it is, there's that 40 tooth blade that I really am happy with, and here's the one that I was sent. It's a they call it laminate plywood MDF and chipboard blade, but basically okay, here's a catalog also that they sent, a full line Amana catalog. You know, some really good information in that also, but basically this is a 60 tooth blade, and it's a TCG grind blade, so it's completely different than the ATB blades. Supposedly this blade has an extremely long life on when cutting like tough materials like the MDF and chipboard, which I really hate to use my good blades on, because you know, that stuff, you actually, with MDF, sometimes you even see sparks and stuff, and it just really does dull the ATB blades quicker. So this is, they call it laminate and trim blade. It's, you can see there, it's a TCG grind, and it's a .126 kerf, so, you know, will work good with my saw. It's got that same electro blue coating, which I really like. It seems to, you know, keep stuff from sticking to it and everything. So I figured, you know, we're just gonna put it on the saw and give it a couple test cuts here to get started. Over time, you know, you'll see this in my videos, and we'll see how the blade stands up and everything. But you know, if it's like the other Amana blade, I think it'll be good. So I'm gonna remove this 40 tooth Prestige blade that I've been using for a couple of weeks now, and I must say, I think this really is a really great all-around blade. It's been, you know, doing really good for me. Great rips, easy to feed, great cross cuts, and you know, it seems to handle hardwoods and softwoods really good. But you know, with the other 60 tooth blade now, I'll be able to you know, dedicate it to just wood type materials and not you know, risk dulling it on the harder composite materials. So the blade, you know, as with the other Amana blade, it fit the arbor nice and snug. But this, the kerf on this blade is actually more close to what's designed to be used with this splitter that I have on it. So, you know, we'll give it a couple test cuts now and see how it works out. And, you know, as with basically most of my videos, I've got the blade guard removed and just using the splitter for these cuts. But just so I can get, you know, good videos of this stuff. But in reality, you should always have the blade guard in place if possible. So I got the splitter back in, and just throwing the standard insert in there, and we're ready to give it a try. Now on the blade it says that it's rated for hardwoods, but you know, in the brochure it doesn't say that, so I figured I'd start with a piece of walnut, which it's really not a real hardwood, but you know, I figured it would be a good starting point just to see the cut quality. So I you know, I did that first cut with the walnut, and I have to tell you that this TCG grind does not do as good a job as the that 40 tooth Premier on the hardwood. You can see there's a lot of real fuzzy edges there, and a lot of blade marks that I'm seeing in this wood. I mean, it did a decent cut, but it's just not up to the quality of the 40 tooth blade. So the place where this blade is supposed to really shine is using it on the MDF and the chipboard type materials. It's supposed to have a long life and you know, really do a good job cutting them. And here's a piece of MDF, and you can see it really did an excellent smooth job of the cut. There is just a tiny bit of fuzz along the bottom side of the piece that kind of wipes right off with your finger. So you do get nice square edges, nice straight cuts and don't really see blade marks or anything else. It's definitely a good cut on this MDF, and I do cut quite a bit of it for using for my CNC router and stuff, and for cabinet hidden parts. So this is going to be a real great blade, I think. So here I'm just doing another cut on MDF to get a full length cut, because the other one kind of ran off the piece, to get a little better idea. And same thing, it's basically a perfectly smooth cut, which really is kind of hard to get in this material, and just a tiny bit of fuzz on the bottom. And then it's supposed to be made for this chipboard type material, and there you can see I cut that on the Freud blade that I had originally. You can see the chip out on the bottom, a really big tear out that I was getting with that blade. So I figured I'd give this a try, just to see. It's supposed to be rated for it, so it does really feed very easy. It's got a really nice angle to it for the feed to keep that rate high. And here you can see I cut the particle board really a nice smooth, almost like a polished finish. Did a great job. The top of the cut has absolutely zero chip out on it, and on the bottom, if you look closely, you can see some really tiny spots that just a little piece of sandpaper would take off. But basically it did a really nice job on this laminate material. And I do use particle board at times, and sometimes I do use this coated board for shelves and stuff, so it looks like it's going to be a real handy blade for that also. Another thing that I found is that angle on the blade there, that hook angle, actually does seem to get a lot of the sawdust down into the dust collection system. There you can see it's really a nice cut, but that hook angle seems to get a lot of the sawdust even without having the zero clearance insert in it. So it looks like it's going to be good for working with these materials. And I just decided to try a little bit slower cut with the using the miter gauge, just to see what happens, because that first cut I made pretty fast. And there you can see basically when you slow down the cut, the bottom of the material does come out just almost perfect. There are a couple of really little tiny nicks in it, but the top is definitely perfect cut with no damage to the laminate on it. So, and the chipboard is actually a very smooth cut also. So this is where this blade I think really excels, is in these two types of materials. It's and that's what it's made for, to have a long life when cutting this abrasive type of material, and it's made to do a good job in that with the TCG grind. I'm basically going to say this saw blade is really going to be a good companion to that 40 tooth Prestige that I have. It handles these type of materials really great. Yeah, and they're going to let me keep this blade so I can do some long-term testing on it, just to see how it stands up over time, and you'll see that in videos on my channel. Then, I did say that it was rated for plywood somewhere, so I decided to just grab a piece of plywood to try and cut that with it. And actually, the rip cut is it's fairly good. It's a nice square, straight cut. You do see a couple marks from the saw blade in it, and just a little tiny fuzz along the bottom of the cut you can see. But apparently, that's a characteristic of this type of grind of a blade. So, that cut wasn't bad, but I think that Prestige is better on that. And then for the cross cut of the plywood, I just figured I'd do that quick just to check that out. And same thing, it did do a nice job on the on the cross cut, but there you can see there's a little bit of fuzz. Almost a piece of sandpaper with one pass would take it off, but it does do a nice cutting job, but there definitely is a little bit of fuzz on it. So if you're going for long blade life on plywood cuts, I guess you could use this and just knock that off easily. So all in all, this blade really does a great job in the materials that it's designed for. The wood, I actually think I'd use a Prestige blade, and that I do tend to get a little bit better cut with a little bit less fuzz on that. So I'm going to say really for the laminate or the MDF or the chipboard, this blade is good, and this Prestige blade up here seems to be good for everything else. And I have to do a little more studying into the different tooth configurations. I really didn't know, what the different grinds did until now, and it looked like it'll be a good thing to study up on in the future. So you can see they've actually removed the wood rating from the catalog on it too. But in their catalog, there are some really great router bits that I want to get my hands on and try someday. I'm going to have to save up, and it looks like the Amana are really high quality bits, and they also do have a lot of insert bits and stuff like that. And the Tools Today catalog really shows them all, gives you a good picture of them all, and they seem to have really good prices on them. I want to try some of these insert bits someday. And then they had one bit that was really interesting looking, that you can angle the inserts on it, and I'm thinking when I do my slab flattening CNC table, that's really going to be a great choice of a bit for that. So hopefully I'll be able to afford that in the future. And then just one little thing for my table, so I actually made a little aluminum bracket to go under the other brackets there. You can see I just folded up some aluminum and screwed it onto the side of the table, so I could place my saw guard down there when it's not in use. So that really helped out, and I really do like that segment gauge that I keep above it there. That's a really handy place to have it. So all in all, it looks like Amana is really getting into some affordable, high-quality blades for like the home woodworker and industrial setting. So, I'm real pleased with both of these blades that I'm using now, and time will tell. And this Tools Today really that is seems to have the best prices, fast shipping, and they really do have a great catalog if you're into any kind of a CNC routing showing all the blades. So basically, this is just the first impressions of this blade, and we'll see how it does over time. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.